Ich träume und die Welt erzittert.
Yes! Yes! Hey guys, Clone Guy here, and today we are doing yet another Tanks You Need in Your Garage episode, and this today is going to be the T29. The T29. And a lot of you are like, oh, that tank is just really good. Why would you recommend that? They're going to learn bad habits. No, in my opinion, I think this is a great trainer because it rewards you for knowing your terrain, and it will teach you terrain because this thing has 10 degrees of gun depression and a fantastic turret, a turret that cannot be penetrated pretty much by any tanks you ever face. It will 120 millimeter guns can overmatch your roof, and so that you have to keep in mind, but you don't really need to know that at this point in the game, especially if you're newer. But, you know, you're hull down, using gun depression, pretty much no one can pin you. Sometimes they will, but pretty much they can't. You can really rely on the T29 turret. It's got 10 degrees of gun depression, which is phenomenal. And this is just what American heavy tanks do. It's got this amazing 105, 10 degrees, 15 degrees of elevation, 11.4 seconds base reload, um, 380 view range. That's fantastic. It goes 35. It's a sluggish-ish tank, kind of. Not really though. It's a mediocre. It's not really fast. It's not really slow, so that's fine. You don't have to worry about that. But yeah, this tank will teach you terrain. It will teach you positions in terrain. The last tank, the KV-1, we talked about side scraping. Side scrape, side scrape, side scrape. That one will teach you where to side scrape, teach you how to angle, and so on and so forth. How to trade. This tank will teach you terrain. Where you can go hold down. Where you can use 10 degrees of gun depression, and so on, so forth. And that is very good knowledge to learn. And I recommend the T29 over a bunch of other good hull down tanks because this one will not punish you too badly if you make a mistake. Like if you are too tall in a position you're showing some of your hull, it will occasionally block shots. It will still block some shots and you won't get punished right away. And the problem with lower tiers is when you make a mistake in the game, you get punished and killed immediately because of derp guns, because you don't have good crews, because the game doesn't teach you anything, because nobody has good health, everyone has high DPM at low tiers, and you get one or two shot at the lower tiers. This tank you won't get one or two shot, and it will really help teach you positioning. Hull down specifically positioning, and you can still side scrape because it has good side armor, and if you're fighting same tier and lower, you can still angle your tank because it still has a decent upper plate. So you can still take what you learned in the KV-1, but now you just add a really good turret and gun depression. And so that's why we're taking this tank out, and why I think this is a tank everyone should have in their garage because it will teach you a lot. Now the package you should get, which is really expensive, is the T29 105. You will have to grind for this. So this is one I think you should get. It has a 105 gun with 198 penetration, which is fantastic at tier 7, and 320 alpha. Very decent premium rounds as well, 245, which will deal with most tier 9s you ever come across if you have to fight them. And the gun handle isn't the greatest, but it's not too terrible either. And as you can see, the turret armor 279. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And what else do we need to talk about on this tank? Let's talk about loadout. I have 45, 8, and 10. I would recommend, once again, plenty of HE shells for tanks you cannot penetrate. Maybe you don't have the money to take 8, so maybe you'll take 4 or something. But as always, I think you should always have premium rounds on your tank, even if it is just 2. Just enough to scare someone off if you can't penetrate them. And then they think, oh boy, that guy has premium rounds, I don't want to fight him. And that may help you in a tight situation. And as always, you can press Y or triangle to change the currency. Keep that in mind. Now, small repair kit, small first aid, and I put an auto fire extinguisher on because I figured at tier 7 you should have enough money to fork over 20,000 credits for an auto fire extinguisher. I think that's a fantastic thing to take on this tank. And it only gets used, and you only have to pay for it if it gets used in game, so if you get sound fire. So I'd recommend you go with that, definitely. And then for equipment, I went with gun rammer, vertical stabilizer, and optics. I think if you're going to keep this tank, you should probably invest into some permanent equipment, and these are the ones I would take because you have 380 view range, so you can take optics on this and max out your view range, which is fantastic to do and helps you out in tier 9 battles. It really does, and it helps you really bully tier 5s because tier 5s don't have much view range, and if you're spotting them from 440 meters and they don't spot you till 300, it's It really helps out. But you can drop this for vents if you choose to. And yeah, that's it. Let's jump into some gameplay and explain to you what we're doing, why we're doing it, and yeah, that'll be it. And then we'll jump into a live game. Before we jump into some games, I want to show the armor off real quick because we can do this. Here is the upper plate, about 167, not angled. You have this weak spot, of course, but here's the turret. Yeah, this turret is phenomenal. Even if you hit the cupola, it's pretty difficult because of its angling to go and penetrate. So that's pretty nice. And the side armor is really good, so you can angle like this. And yeah, look at the side armor, and then the upper plate becomes really good. So you can still angle with this, but remember you have this weak spot and you have a lower plate. And one other thing I wanted to highlight is the money making ability. It is 83.6%, which is actually really good. I think only the Russian tanks, heavy tanks at tier 7 beat this. So this tank will be making credits as well, which is phenomenal when you're a free-to-play player. So keep that in mind. So the game is nice enough to give us steps to start, which is a perfect map to really demonstrate the turret armor and the gun depression of this vehicle. And I initially wanted to go 9-0, but then I noticed they have a huge medium tank presence and we have a good heavy tank presence. Do I really want to go to the right side and fight their mediums in their element? No. I've decided I'm going to go left, plus there's no artillery, so that'll really help me out getting a hold down on this left side. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go this way and help my team over here. Now I'm rolling up, and I'm going to try to get hull down on this VK4502A. Here we go. We are hull down on him right here. The less you can see of them, the less they can see of you, pretty much is what it means. So I'm nice and far back. You see this ridge in front of me, which I'm just barely poking my gun reticle over? That means just my gun is poking over that, which means they can't see my hull. And so that's what I'm doing. And he bounces off of us harmlessly, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. After a few failed exchanges back and forth, I've decided it's time to push up, and so is this Emil 1. And once again, we're going to go straight into a position where we are hulled down. We don't have a clean shot on him, so I've decided to go after this guy. And boom, we fire, and we do miss. And there's a gun handle you're going to see a lot of in this tank. It's not the greatest, but it really does hit hard. And when it works, it works. And that's just the way it is. And once again, we're just trying to get into positions where we can continue to use our gun depression. This guy's not looking, so I'm willing to poke up and just put a shell into him, and he goes down. And once again, we're going to get into a position where we are hulled down. Paying attention to our surroundings. And yeah, right here, we're poking up and over. And as you can see, he can only see our turret. So there's nothing he can do. And this tank is perfect to teach you how to go hull down. And I highly, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it if you're trying to learn the game, or you know, you've been playing for a while and you just want to do something different and learn. This will teach you a lot about the game. And now I've noticed that we are now losing the base. I noticed this earlier, but I figured as long as I have enough time to get back, we're good. And now I've decided, okay, it's time to go back to base, and so that's what we're doing. Now, 3 of them are in base, but we're going to get there in plenty of time. We're going to use this position to go hold down, and all we've got to do is reset this base. We aim it up, and we finish them off. Get the kill, and the base is reset. Now, we are hull down here. And remember, World of Tanks is a 3D game, meaning you can go hull down even in places without ridges, and that's what we're going to do here. You can kind of, I could have done a better job here. You could wedge your tank up on the left and kind of go around this rock on my left, so that you're hull down there, and you can do that. And so that's really cool. The game is 3D. You don't have to find a ridge to go hull down. You can find a rock and wedge yourself so that you're now hull down, kind of at a 45-degree angle. Can you imagine like tilting your tank to the right, and then boom, you're hull down. And now we're just going for kills, trying to reset this base. Every kill we get slows down the base capture, and that's what we're trying to do. This Fury has now gotten some man pants. He's like, he's fired, we're going for it. Yeah, listen, bud, I'm not a tiger, and this isn't a movie. So boom, we put a shell into him, and he's just bouncing off of us, unfortunately for him. But now he's got our side. He'll go through us a couple times from the rear, but we don't have to worry too much about it. And he goes down. We're getting sniped at from way back in the back of the map, but we don't have any shots on them. But we're gonna continue to shoot the base, and then once again from right here we are hull down once again. Are we? I can't quite get hull down here, so I'm gonna pull back. I've decided I want to show everything to you guys. I'm going to show everything. And while I was filming this, I'm like, I could just poke over and shoot the T29, but then I'm teaching bad habits. Instead, I'm going to be patient, go to the right side where I was before, where I was hull down, and shoot him from here, because from here I am hull down. But the accuracy doesn't come into play, and we missed the shot. So now we're going to advance. I've decided now's the time, and so that's what we're going to do.
And we should find a shell. Are we? Yes, we are. And we finish him off. After much driving, we find the Easy 8. We knew where he was, and we finish him off, picking ourselves up a Top Gun. How much money did we make that game? And this is the question I'm sure you're all asking, you're waiting for, because if you're on a free-to-play account and you can't afford premium rounds or a premium account, this is what you want to know. Did I make credits? That is the big question. The answer is yes. We made 12,000 credits. 12,000 credits without any boosters, and with the premium account we did make 30,000 credits. So not too shabby. If you're free to play, you still made some money. And Delaying Lane's medal for killing 4 players in the cap circle, in this case it was 5. Not too bad. Next we find ourselves on Live Oaks, and once again you have to think to yourself, what is the strength of this tank? And it is its turret. Where can you use your turret most effectively? In the town or on the left? Where the ridge lines are, where the train tracks are. And the answer is, obviously, I want to go to the left. Here's the matchmaking we've been given, the cards we've been dealt, and we've decided, alright, let's go to the left. And that's what we're going to do. Now, we got yelled by a light tank early on, and I didn't really care to show it because we weren't demonstrating anything about the tank. But now we are. We're using our 10 degrees of gun depression here, and we're putting shot after shot into this Indian Panzer. And this is its element right here. This is where you want to be in your T29. This is amazing. Unfortunately, our team does go down. And can we keep this guy alive? No, he's going to get rammed. And that was a big ram by the Indian Panzer, which was actually key to helping them win this game, because then he was a one hit for our Minuteman, their Minuteman. And now we're just going to pull back. We're going to try to get hulled down. And you're going to see our armor kind of work up here. Even though we're not completely hulled down and he does see our hull, sometimes they bounce off. And that is because they're firing standard rounds. He does not bounce off. But he does. He bounces off of, I don't know if he hit our turret or our hull, but he still bounced off even though part of our hull was showing. And that is because the armor does work. As I said, you will be forgiven if you use this tank. Some shells will bounce off, and it's phenomenal. It's really nice. Even though we're not perfect, they still bounce off of us, and that's really nice. But we're going to die now. He bounces off of us again. We're going to go after him, and we're going to aim at his weak spot, at his driver's hatch, or his little machine gun, and it just goes above the machine gun, and that actually is about 221 millimeters of effective armor right above the machine gun, which is a little bit interesting. That if you miss the weak spot, then you go into the strongest point on the hull. But oh well, it is what it is, and we go down. But we did what we could. The enemy team did get out camped, and we did manage to win that game because we had a couple of tank destroyers sitting in our base, and they just couldn't get in. How much did we make? 7,700 credits. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Now we're on Mountain Pass, and I notice we have a light tank scouting, so I've decided to sit here in the open, waiting, and you're gonna see the accuracy rear its ugly head, and we do miss that shot. And that, 0.42 dispersion at 100 meters, that's gonna happen a lot. But this is not a tank you snipe with. This is a tank you want to get up into the enemy's faces with. And are we gonna hit this guy? No, we're not even gonna try. Oh well. This next engagement is the perfect position you want to be in your T29, and that is hull down using 10 degrees of gun depression against opponents like this guy. But, once again, the accuracy rears its ugly head, and we miss our first shot. And I'm going to load my premium rounds because I figured if I keep missing and bouncing, I'm just wasting money doing nothing anyway. I'll probably make more credits shooting premium rounds than I would not. But the shell misses, so yes, we don't get money for that. But don't worry, he's still out in the open. Let's fire another shell into him. Come on, we can do this. And it misses again. Nope, we bounced off. We did hit, but we're going to get one more chance. Are we going to be able to put a shell into him just sitting out in the open like this? And it bounces. We bounced off again, unfortunately. The accuracy rearing its ugly head, and just, it is what it is. Now we dropped into the valley, and now we're going to use our gun depression on this Defender and Tiger 2 because they are advancing. Once again, this is a position you really want to be in your T29. Positions where you're using your gun depression are beautiful. Here comes this Tiger 2. We are showing a bit of our hull, and I figured he may penetrate us here. But you know what, we'll put a shell into him, and we'll just take the chance. He does find our hull, and he goes in. The Tiger 2 is more than capable of going into our hull while using 10 degrees of gun depression. Because we've got about, what did we say? I think it's about 220 effective using your 10 degrees of gun depression. He's got 226 pen, so he can go through no problem, even while we're using our gun depression. However, if we can get into a position where he can only see our turret, we'll be doing great. Somehow he finds a shell into our hull. I thought we were hull down there, but apparently we weren't as hull down as I thought we were. And he finds it, but we do find his lower plate. No problem. And now we're just going to sit here and wait because we're a one-shot. Finally, they get bored of me just waiting for them. And they move on, and because of that, we're able to put a side shot into the Tiger 2's turret. And that's going to be it this game. once again, the big question is, did we make credits? We fired 3 premium rounds that game. I think 3. Yeah, 3 premium rounds, and they did nothing. We still made 407 credits. If we did not fire any premium rounds, we would have made about 12,000 credits. 13,000 credits, I think. So, keep that in mind. Now we're on Baja, and I've decided to go the right flank. Baja / South Coast. Because over here we can once again use our gun depression and turret armor. We are again fighting 8s. We have fought 8s every game so far, which is quite interesting actually. A little bit, yeah, it is a little interesting. I think tier 7 is a good spot to be though, in my opinion, with matchmaking. Yes, you will fight a lot of 8s because there's a lot of tier 8 premium tanks and people are playing them, but you won't see many tier 9s. Tier 7 for me is a sweet spot in the matchmaking. This whole night I played, I never saw a single tier 9. And I played for about an hour, and I didn't see a single tier 9. So that was pretty cool. Obviously, luck changes, and that's all it is. It's just luck of the cards. And you may be given 9 after 9 after 9 after 9 one day, and then the next day given 7 after 7 after 7. That's just the way it works. But this tank is more than capable of dealing with it. But now you can see we are hull down. This is where I want it to be. We can use our gun depression, our turret armor, fire a shell. It flies low. He stopped anyway, but even if he kept backing up, it would have missed. But now we've spotted this guy. We're actually going to get the assist off this guy because of our view range. And our shell flies true that time. We overmatch and penetrate his tank. And he's actually going to get hit a couple times by my teammates. And yeah, there we go. And this is exactly what we want. We're going to fire another shell blind. We miss, but someone else hits him again. So that's great news right there. And now we're going to pull up and try to get into a position where once again we're using our gun depression. I'm going to show this whole engagement because you're going to see how powerful this tank is when you're using your gun depression. And you're going to see it is absurd. And we're going to fight 2 tanks and they're going to go running. They're going to scramble for their lives. There they are, IS and Tiger and Big Top. We're going to kill the Big Top, kill the tank, get the gun out of the game. If you want to win games, go for kills. There we go, get his gun down. And now we're going to go for the easier target, whichever one presents itself more. We got this guy, is he aiming at us? He is not. He does not have a shot. So we're going to change our attention to this Tiger 1. Look at this. There's nothing he can do to us. And we put a shell into the side of his tank. Actually, it looked like it went into his turret, but no problem for this gun. It still goes in. And we're going to be able to get another shell in on him. No, we're not. So now we're going to commit, and we're going to finish this guy off because he is low. We're going to get his gun out of the game. That's what I've decided to do. Help my teammate out by putting a shell into this guy. We're going to be able to do it. If the Tiger was paying attention, he will start putting side shots in on us. And we ammo rack the IS. I see the Tiger. I know he's coming, so we're going to start turning our attention towards him. But I want to kill this IS first. The Tiger has really good DPM. But first things first, IS. He goes down. Gives us the side, so I figured I only need to auto lock up, so that's what we do. So now we need to cut in and hopefully get away from this Tiger and Indian Panzer who are both shooting me. Put a shell in the Tiger 1, and he goes down, and now we're going to duck under right here. And now we are fairly safe, but not quite yet. Somebody does have a shot at us, and we're just pulling back, trying to escape. But unfortunately, we get tracked, and that's not going to be it. He's going to hit us again, and he ammo racks us. Fire a shell blind, and we do miss. We went undetected, so we moved in underneath their guns. And what do we still have? Even though we are ammo racked and have terrible DPM, we still have view range because we took optics instead of vents. And we still have a good turret with gun depression. And so that's we need to remember. We need to keep in mind. And so that's what we're going to use here. We're going to sit in this position right here, and we're going to go hull down and try to keep these guys spotted for as long as we can, because I figured they're not going to penetrate me. There we go. We get the assist for that guy. And we're just going to spot, because we still, like I said, have turret armor and view range. Even though we're ammo racked, we're still useful. And you need to remember this. Don't count your chickens lost. Is that how the saying goes? I'm sure it is, right? Yep, that's how it goes. And yep, there we go. There's a Challenger and there's a Borsig. We spot them both. And we're just going to sit here. We don't need to fight. We still have teammates. Keep these guys preoccupied, and that's what we're doing. But in a moment here, I'm going to decide to do something a little bit crazy, and that is go after this Borsig. I figured, you know what? I'm reloaded. He's a one-shot for me. So let's just go do this. And so that's what we're going to do. That guy can't one-shot us. As long as he doesn't ammo rack us, we're going to do this. And what you're going to see me do here is go from ridge to ridge, going hull down, making sure he's not there. He's not there? Alright, we're going to go to the next ridge now. Once we go undetected, there we go, we're undetected. Next ridge. Ridge to ridge is all we're going to do. We are spotted. We just got to get to the next ridge. Keep our gun pointed at that guy so he doesn't shoot us on the side of the turret. Then, once we're safe, whip the gun around for the Borsig, and we are hull down here. We are hull down because we've angled ourselves on this ridge. He gets finished off anyway. Now we're going to finish this guy off. He just puts out his fire, and we finish him off, and down he goes. The game ends. Did we make money? Yes, we did. 12,000 yet again without a premium account. Not too shabby. As long as you're making money, then you're not losing it. It makes sense, doesn't it? Yep, it does. Now we are on Icebound, and we are top tier. But there are 2 artillery. So do I go to the center where I can use my gun depression, or do I go to the left of the town? I've decided we can side scrape in this tank. Let's go to the left part of the town and maybe find a pile of rubble where we can still go hull down. And so that's what I'm going to do. Now we've made it to about where we wanted. Look at this. You've got this rubble here in case they start pushing through. And yeah, and the corner to side scrape on. So we are going to side scrape right here. This is where I've chosen, and so this is what we're going to do. There's a Black Prince, and he pens our side. We over-angled, so I'm going to adjust my angle a little bit, and now we should be good. There we go. He bounces off, and we're going to put a shell into his side. Now, this is going to be it from this location, because we're now getting flanked. And I noticed this. I'm like, well, I'm going to side scrape this one more time. Nope, I'm not going to. Looking around. Alright, let's go help the other side now, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to be patient. Notice how I point my gun to the right real quick? Yes, I pointed my gun because the mantlet spots as well as the cupola. So I figured if I point my gun around the corner, then I'll be able to spot that tiger, and we do, but unfortunately it wasn't fast enough. So now I've decided it's time to turn around and make our last stand here. I shouldn't have to worry about the tanks in the middle because I have a couple of tanks behind me on my team who should be able to shoot them if they come after me. So that's what I've decided to do, is turn my rear to the Tiger and Black Prince because I don't think they'll have shots on me, and change my attention instead to this T29 and this other T29 and IS who are advancing against me. And so that's what I've done. We've got tanks behind us who should cover us. But this is World of Tanks, and that would assume you have teammates, right? Right. We finish him off, and now we're going to change our attention to the next tank. And keeping an eye on behind us, we still have tanks there who should keep those guys off of me. We've got 2 tanks there. And hopefully, anybody who tries to come up behind me, he will shoot. They will shoot. However, this is World of Tanks. Here comes an IS maybe. No. Okay. Go back to this guy. Gotta put a shell into him. Can we? Come on, get our gun down. There we go. Put the shell in. As you can see, we're using this to just be hull down. But there we go. T29 behind us. Our team who were behind us kind of moved on, and they're no longer focusing on those guys. And that's a little bit unfortunate. So I've turned my rear to those guys now, and I figured this is the right play because I have a tank there who they're shooting at, but that guy's running off, and because he's running off, they've changed their attention to me. I've decided, okay, I need to kill someone right now. So that's what I've decided to do. I'm charging. My heavy tanks were with me, ran away, and aren't shooting the T29 who's behind me. And because of that, he's now shooting me in the rear. But we finished that guy off, and now we're turning our attention to this Jumbo and our T29 counterpart behind us. Gonna get our armor around. He finds a shell, unfortunately, there. And are we going to be able to get another shell off this game? Come on. No, we're not. And we go down. But we did all we could, and we do wind up winning this game. But like I said, we did get abandoned by our teammates, but that's World of Tanks for you. It's what happens. We do win this game. We did enough to allow our team to take down the victory, and we make 17,000 credits without a premium account, which is phenomenal for, like I said many times, a free tank anyone can get. This last game I'm going to show in double speed because it's very crucial, and I want to show the whole thing. So everything's happening double speed, just so you know. Okay, the tank doesn't actually go this fast. You don't really reload this fast. And right away we noticed that we are top tier, and they have 2 Minutemen platoon on the enemy team, and I've decided where do I want to fight them and where don't I want to fight them. Okay, I want to fight them where I'm hull down, but if I'm hull down, they can be hull down. And they have more armor than me on their side, so I don't want to fight them in a place where they can use that armor. I want to fight them in a place where they can only use their turrets like me, so we have the same advantage. And so I've gone over to this side. And once again, you're going to see accuracy rear his ugly head and go into his tracks instead of his hull, that T29. And yeah, we're just using this position because in this position we are hull down. And then I've noticed their Minutemen have gone down to the beach. So they are no longer using their advantage, their turret armor advantage. So I've decided I'm going to push in here and harass their medium tanks because I have 10 degrees of gun depression. And so that's what I've decided to do. And that's what's going to happen here. We're going to put a shell in the back of this guy. No, we're not. We're going to miss, but he bounces off of our upper hull because it was angled at 10 degrees because we're using 10 degrees of gun depression. No problem. And now we're going to put shells into this guy. Fire 1 into him. that he's gonna pull back. And this is just what we're gonna do. We are hull down here. There's nothing they can really do. No need to go after that T20 and lose health. So I'm gonna go over to this side, because over here I should be able to use my 10 degrees to shoot this guy in the back. And so that's what I've decided to do. No, we're not quite able to. There's a Crafts Panther in the back. 10 degrees of gun depression. Pop. Straight into him. Nobody had shots on us, so we put it in. Easy peasy. Now we're going to finish this guy off. Pop. Finish him off. 10 degrees of gun depression. No one else had shots. Already finds a shell on us, so now we're going to try to avoid artillery for a little while. Put a shell into that guy. Once again, no one has shots. 10 degrees is fantastic. Already hits us again. And we ping where he shot us from to let everyone know. And now we're going to pull in. We're going to try to avoid his shell for a little while. Is he going to find another shell in the west? No, he's not. We're going to go for it. He fires. There we go. He fires, so I'm going to finish off this TIS. We finish him off. I figured it was worth because the game was pretty much over. And we're going to put a shell into this guy, finish him off, and now we're going to go straight for artillery. We know exactly where he shot from, and we're just pointing our gun right where we think he is. We're coming for you, artillery. Revenge will be had. We're going to destroy this guy. And yep, there he is. Right in front of us. The Minutemen lost the beach because they no longer had the advantage on the beach with their gun depression and turret armor like I have. And because of that, they lost the game. And we won the game, picking ourselves up 23,000 credits, a nice bit of assisted and raw damage, thanks to our coded optics. Not too shabby for free-to-play. Now, we're going to jump into a live game, and I will see you guys there.
We find ourselves on Swamp Encounter, so right away you want to think to yourself, what can I do? Where can I go? And if, like I said, you're a newer player and you don't know positions, holy cow, this is fantastic matchmaking. Like I said, one take, no matter what. And this is the take. This is what we're going to do. Okay. So, in this kind of matchmaking, you are the most important player in the game. You have to make sure you're doing damage. Don't sit there and be like, oh, I'm top tier, I gotta really preserve my health, preserve my hit points. You're gonna lose that game, because then you're letting their 7s win the game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get into a position where I can go hold down. And so if you're a newer player, that's kind of harder to figure out, but you'll learn, and that's why I think you should play the T29 a lot when you're a newer player, is because, like I said, this will teach you where to go hold down, and it will forgive you if you make mistakes because of its armor. It is durable enough to forgive you, and that's pretty nice. So anyway, this map is perfect for going hold down. I'm thinking I want to make my way up here, is what I'm thinking, because then I can make my way up here, and I can really, really use my 10 degrees of gun depression, which is what this tank has, which I didn't... Did I mention it? Oh, I might have mentioned it. I don't know. Who knows? But here we go. We want to get across. I was gonna go this way, but then I noticed we have these guys up here, and they're not spotting anything right here, which means they will not have side shots on me, so that's why I've decided to do this. And so that's what I'm going to do. And this tank will really teach you how to play the British heavies, the Carnarvon, the Conqueror, the Super Conqueror. It will teach you how to play the T32, the E5, not so much the M103, because that's kind of just a rare breed. It's so different from these ones. But yeah, you're gonna learn a lot playing this tank. And that's my guarantee, my promise to you. Anyway, let's see if we can hit this guy. There we go. Aim that carefully because of the undulation. Their champion is there. Like I said, remember, the top tiers are the most important pieces, especially when there's only 2 top tiers in a game. So we gotta... Any damage we do to him gets us that much closer. Go for his tracks. Did we get it? We did not track him. Gets us that much closer to winning the game. Every bit of damage. Both their 7s are here. If we can kill them both, we'll win this game for sure. Aim up a shot. Can we roll high? We don't, but that's okay. He goes down. Fantastic. Now we want to make our way towards this guy. Eliminate him. Can you imagine, guys, if you can get rid of the only 2 tanks in the game that are the same tier as you and everyone else is lower tier? This is amazing. So that's what we're trying to do right now. And once again, we're going to get into a position where we can use our tank's strengths, which is the turret armor and gun depression. And look at this. This is a perfect place to use both. Sit right here. We can't quite get it down. Right like this. There we go. Perfect. See? Using gun depression, he can see our turret. We might even let him shoot our turret. There we go. He bounces off, and he goes down. Fantastic result. Churchill now. Boom. We put it inside him. There we go. He is a one-shot now. And just one shot at a time. One shot at a time. And we're gonna now make our way towards the enemy. We just got hit by a KV-2, I think that was. Yes, it was a KV-2 up in their base. And that you can't get hull down on. He's gonna do damage to you no matter what. So we gotta just get in and try to get underneath his gun. This guy's doing what we should be doing. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use this position and we're gonna get hull down. Anytime you can, you should in this tank. Any tank, really, that can do it, just do it. Get hull down. Your turret is usually the strongest part on your tank. So that's what we're going to do. Ready? Only show the top of our tank and put the shell in. That way, if he had looked at us, he would not go through our tank because he cannot penetrate our turret. So that's what we're doing. Already misses us, which is good news. There's the KV-2. Aim up a shot at him. Is he aiming at us? I think so. But we're going to aim right at his fuel tanks. Perhaps. No fuel tank hit. That's okay, though. He is now a one hit for us if we roll high enough. And once again, we're just going to make our way around. And at this point in time, you don't have to worry too much about going hull down because there's not many hit points left on the enemy team. No more big guns. Our hull should be able to hold up against all their tanks, guns on the enemy team right now. That's the plan anyway. That is the plan. But, yeah, let's just continue. Continue to roll the enemy team at this point. There's no point going for the base because there's nothing to capture. Go for this easy 8 now. Aim up a shot and finish him off. Nope, we bounce off. Oh boy. I didn't realize he was in front of the rock. I thought he was behind this rock right there, and so I snapped that, thinking he was going to get into cover, but he didn't. My mistake. He's backing up. Never back up. Turn around and drive away. Turn around, guys. Trust me. It's better if you turn around and drive. You go faster forwards than you do backwards. And he might have been able to escape us and survived for just a little bit longer. Anyway, that's what I would have done anyway. So, medium tank, light tank. That's all that's left. Yep, there we go. There he is. We could probably even load an HE shell right now. Let's do it. Let's load an HE shell and see if we can catch this 12-ton, because that would be hilarious. Just picking up ourselves a huge penetrating roll. That would be amazing. We just go pop and we hit him for 420, I think. What was our alpha? We mentioned it in the when we were doing the review on the tank, the quick review. But I forget. Regardless, I think he is a one hit for us. I'm a little sad that he decided to drive that way instead of towards us. That upsets me slightly. But we may still get him if this guy doesn't clip him out. There we go. We got him. GG. Good game. But there it is. T29. Like I said, you know, get into positions where you can hide your turret as much as you can. How much money were you going to make? Because as mentioned earlier, this does make it a fairly decent amount of credits. Decent. It's not great. It's not as good as the Russian heavies. For some reason, those ones always make more. But there we go. 27,000 credits. Almost 28,000 credits made without any boosts going. But yeah. But that was a favorable matchup, but it is one take no matter what. And yeah, there it is. We bounced one shell off of that easy 8. Other than that, though, pretty good game. Pretty good game. Well, guys, T29. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, slap that like button, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a tank you should have in your garage? Because I certainly do. Especially for you newer players. This is a fantastic trainer. It will train you how to play the game very well. And I'll see you guys all later. Take care, and peace out.